Okay, so I'm making this little video because this is like a song from 1970 called Lola. Okay, so this is a live performance of that song where we have a man singing about a woman pretending to be a man. But what we have here is, really, if you think of it, 1970, forget it. I'm just going to say that what we have is a woman pretending to be a man singing about a woman pretending to be a man. This is the reality. I don't care what anyone wants to say about it. That is the reality. That is what is the case and has been going on for a long, long time. But they tell you this, the demigod music artists, singers, performers, idols, icons, whatever degree of status they hold in the worldwide music industry, doesn't matter, but they are good at what they do, but they tell you the truth too. See, so that woman posing as a man is singing about Lola, who is essentially like saying that he met a woman called Lola down in Soho. I think that's in London. And, she walked up to him and she asked him to dance, and he danced, and, he couldn't understand why she walked like a woman but talk a little like a man, and why when she held him tight she nearly squeezed him so hard that, which I have observed that myself, just not in personal relationships, because I haven't, but in less personal relationships, like when I think of it, when I think of in the past, some of my neighbours doing various things, like the lady that piled all these bricks into my garbage tin, like a whole garbage tin of huge bricks, and then pushed the garbage tin, which I could not push. Another neighbour doing a simple, rather physical thing that, well, like for instance, that I just can't do. Now, I don't consider myself, particularly when I was younger, I considered myself reasonably physically strong. Not now, of course. No, not after they've come down on you and the Matrix tries to rack your body every day. In fact, if you are at a higher vibration, I've said this before, you can fend off a lot of physical attacks at a sickness and bodily level from the Matrix and from the Matrix operatives. Operatives, I mean any civilian that is around you, mostly, if they are openly coming out and coming down on you. Openly coming out, that's a bit of a cliche, but they actually do openly come out too, because, like I say, these particular human beings are not regular man, woman, naturally bred or naturally born people. And that's the basic difference. And that's the difference between even Lola and the man that meets Lola. Even Lo, if you take this actual kind of reality a little bit more, like if you take the reality that all the demigods are of the God entity, who is essentially a reversed, inverted, created, technical, advanced being, if you want to look at it that way. But, it makes no difference who they are. But this video has just come up. I've done this one before, the Oliver's Army, but I should do it again because I didn't do it very well. And because even though I'm familiar with all these songs from years and years ago, like they're all like 1970, which is a long time ago, but I remember when they came out, even though I was quite young then, but I didn't understand them. In fact, Lola was more like just something really interesting, like, oh, is that, like I remember thinking, oh, that's a very interesting song, and that means that some silly fella fell for a man that, you know, put on woman's clothes and a wig and stuff like that, and made himself up to look like a woman, and maybe he was a particularly attractive man, and so was able to do that, which you can do. Of course, what you don't really realise is that there's a lot more to all this than that. That's what is now the reality. See, they gradually condition you to accept the changes and the merging of man-woman because they want that reality. But in reality, these two separate kind of species, he's pointing the finger at me as I said that, have always coexisted, and not very probably happily, because they're not meant to coexist. They are not meant to coexist because both of them bring out the worst in the other. Because it's not just about a physical transformation. And they hope that humans will transform into their technical reality and therefore also physically become more like them, because that gives them longevity. We've all heard of the transhuman sort of thing, and that's exactly what it's about. But what humans don't realise, and I say humans because I'm going to use the term humans. It is very painful being a human at the present time, physically, mentally and emotionally. But don't forget the demigods and those that imitate humans, the android, artificial, inverted, transformer beings, will emulate, copy everything that is human, and particularly on the screen. Particularly on the screen, and in reality too, of course, but on the screen, like the demigods singing back in 1970 about what they are, but what they encounter, and you think it is just something random. You think it's like I thought, that's right, oh, a random occurrence with, say, a man that might be fixated on the female aspects of a woman. In other words, like they're a man, but they might like women's clothes or like the artifacts that a lot of women, present. And don't forget that also, and I was told this just a few years ago, that excessive makeup and clothes and hair and wigs and all the accentuating, glamorizing things that many women use to accentuate their so-called femininity are used very strongly by the demigods to to emphasize what they're really not, because they're not feminine, but neither are they masculine either. They're both, and this is essentially emulating the God that they worship, follow, and are essentially servants or disciples of. That's just putting it fancy. I'm trying to impress here, but like when I say a disciple, that just simply means that you believe in that being, or you believe in those ideas, you believe in that reality, you believe in technology, you believe in merging of the man-woman roles and bodies, and you think that you can be anything you want. You don't have to be, you know, like that whole premise now that we have very much, where you can be whatever you want. You can be a man inside a woman's body, or a woman inside a man's body. And this is just all this, although there is elements of truth to these things, this is essentially the matrix or technology or ideas being programmed into human beings to mess up your basic identity, so that you become confused and disorientated as to what you really are. And you will think the opposite. You will actually believe, as I've done in my life, that, oh, I'm different. And don't forget, even that difference tends to then make you think that you're different, you're unique. All this sort of things are put into people. But it is essentially what is put into you from the day you're born. And of course, circumstances will be created, your environment, to make this as a reality too. Because if you don't have strong influences that will give your core identity in line with your body, etc., you will not feel right in your own body and things like this. You know, in other words, if you don't have the right role models, if you don't have the right environment, if you don't know, then the matrix will take over. But also, if your relatives and your environment around you are matrix operatives, are those of the matrix, are those of the matrix God. You might say, well, how is that possible? Because a normal spiritual human being must be brought into the world a particular way. They must be born naturally from two separate different types of human beings. You know, man, woman. This is the only way that you can create a normal human being. A normal, natural human being is what I mean. You can create human beings other ways, but they will be different, you see. And so how they exactly always do this, like how could you have parents that are not the same as yourself, for instance? You know this is so because you may have experienced it. You may not be able to put a name on these things or understand them until it's too late, like myself, but you will always be aware that they are different, totally different in their way of looking at the positive human traits. In other words, they do not have any capacity for high vibration or positive human emotions. And they may not even show a lot of negative ones. They may be more neutral even, almost as though they have no feelings, some of them. That will depend on your circumstances and how they can control you. But essentially there is that control element. They are trying to make you like them, or unfeeling. Unfeeling in a positive way. They do not want you to experience what we call the love vibration at all. And you won't, because you will be denied it, and you will start to think that it is not real, because if you don't experience something and then that is passed on, it's a generational thing. I myself have contributed to passing it on, because you only know what you programmed or learnt unless you become awake, unless you realize it. And sometimes, like for myself, it's too little information far too late, or even if you get enough information too late, because you can't change the way you've lived, what you've done. You've passed on what they call the generational curse. And this goes on, and this is how this whole dark matrix keeps going. I say that because it is dark, because it doesn't have any love, or at least the love vibration is deliberately squashed, deliberately suppressed, deliberately suppressed. They suppress the real human beings that have the potential for all emotions and all possibilities, and they suppress their high vibrations from the moment you come into the world. And then because you've been conditioned that way, you don't know how to live or love you do the same thing if you bring life into the world. You may not want to, you may even be aware that you are meant to and want to be different. But even if you still believe in that vibration, which I always have, even though I haven't experienced it, I've always believed in it. That's the difference. You know, the artificial ones don't believe in it. Or at least they know it exists, but not in them, and they don't believe in it being allowed to exist. They don't like it. It's a negative vibration for them. A positive human vibration of love is like a negative vibration to them. In fact, because it's like, you could say, without getting too complicated, a total reverse world, their version of love is hate. So when they see human love expressed, to them it's like experiencing extreme hate, and it makes them not only uncomfortable, but it brings out then their natural venom and their hate. They become like what we call the snake, which some people use even religiously as a symbol of the anti-life being. Those that oppose life, those that oppose the good version of life, those that have destroyed, those that have tried to speak of that even. We all know 2,000 years ago that one that spoke such a way was destroyed. Now different denominations see this in a different way. But to me, personally, I just see it as destroying a very high vibrational human being, one of the highest, that was trying to show other human beings that were in the dark how to get back to being how they are meant to be, and what will make them the happiest, will make a better reality for them. Because, you know, if you're happy, even if your circumstances are not great, if you're happy and in the love vibration, you will deal with even a negative world better, which is why they try to suppress the real life humans that have these potential, which is most real human beings. Only natural, normal, real, male, female human beings have this potential. This is what has to be known and stressed. All the rest are artificial, low vibrational negative beings. You can call them psychopathic narcissists, you can call them you know, all sorts of complicated mental conditions. You can say they are just negative human beings. You can say they are just mean human beings that have you know, you can say they are just you know, jerks, or you can use any description. But once you get, I would say, that once you get to where there is malicious intent on behalf of any human being, or what appears to be a human being, because like I say, these life forms, we are life forms that are all coming in a human body. So it's not like you can distinguish them. You can't say, oh, that's the lion and that's the deer. The deer is, you know, not a predator. The deer is peaceable and just lives off the land, whereas the lion must kill, as we know, other animals for its survival. So it's a different species, but that is very distinguishable in the animal kingdom now. Not saying it's always even been the case, I have heard this, but it is now. And this is also the same with human beings too, because don't forget that there is an evolution, or what I call and I've said this before, even a few years ago when I knew not much, but I still said we have not evolved, we have devolved. Human beings are deliberately being made to devolve, because when you combine with technology, or believe technology, or follow technical beings, which is most of what you're looking at, on any screen, computer or screen of any sort, or what you hear about those on the world stage, those that are prominent in any way, most of them, if they're not incredibly controlled, suppressed human beings who have given up, say, being a positive, loving human being for, say, fame or money or something like that, what some people call selling your soul, most are technical beings. Personally, I think they are all of that species. Even the demigods, I think, even though they are creative, because see, creativity is actually something that the AI demigods, or even the artificial beings that are around, the artificially intelligent android beings that are around, they are deciphering human thoughts, are listening to human thoughts, reading the human mind, given access to the human mind, and they then interpret it depending on their level of artificial intelligence. Because I say it's artificial intelligence because they don't have any positive emotions. They're essentially programmed survival destroyer machine beings. Put bluntly. That sounds very extreme, but it's actually not, because if they were out in the open, which they're not, because they have to play with human beings, otherwise human beings would wake up and they would, I just got a siren in the background when I said that, they would raise their vibration, combine only with real life, and then the dead dark android beings do not have any power. They cannot control the reality then, or at least they would not control human beings. And the only way they have supremacy in this reality is through their mind control of human beings, mind control of me. You know, which is why they've exposed themselves to me and came down on me. And they've been controlling me for a lifetime covertly. Now they control me openly. So the only difference is I see it and they make no bones about it. But that doesn't mean other people could see it, because it's only around me, because they only, as I've said before, they only come out to play when I go out to play. In other words, if I go out the door or try to live a life. And strangely enough, while I'm making this video, it is exceptionally quiet. They've gone quiet, or relatively quiet, the last 2 days, because they don't want me to film the matrix around me. In other words, the actual noise suppression of the human being, because that is something that I can film. I may not pick it up as loud as what it really is on a mobile, unfortunately, but I can still show that they're creating noise around me all the time. Strangely enough, yesterday I was so exhausted and it was so hot, and I was suffering a lot of physical pain, which has largely been instigated by direct energy at my body, to where they can bring out illness and pain in your body. So how can I possibly walk around with any high vibration when you're in physical pain? Then of course you have to resort to the matrix painkillers, which only half work, but then you are not in your full senses, because some of them may have a slowing effect. You see how and I've never done that in my entire life, so that shows you that that was because I was brought down to such a low level. You know, you only have to slip and just go a little bit below in the vibration, and then their dark energy weaponry, which is essentially then sending negative energy at an invisible level at you, can actually harm you physically. Psychologically, all the other stuff is mainly psychological, but of course psychological and physical bring you down spiritually, and therefore vibrationally, frequency-wise, you become low. In other words, you're unhappy. It's all the same thing. Just look at it as happy or unhappy, okay? They're unhappy beings. They're dark beings. Human beings are meant to be happy, light beings, if you want to look at it that way, just putting it fancy. And the name of the game is light versus dark, happy versus unhappy, at a spiritual vibrational frequency level, because, as we are told, everything Everywhere, the whole universe is frequency, vibration, and energy. Human beings' thinking, combined with their frequency and vibration, which is essentially whether they are happy or sad, their mood, their feelings, in other words, creates the energy, which means the reality, because energy then is the material, comes into being. The dead dark beings, those of the negative vibration or the unhappy, low frequency, low vibration, or no vibration from a human standpoint, create the reality through technology. And largely we live in that reality because everything is created mainly, what appears to be created mainly at a physical, technological level, isn't it? Like that's why they make the noise with the machinery when they're doing work or doing things. The human being's power has been taken from them. We can't, while we're in this matrix, under the influence of the dead, dark, artificial God or technical God, utilize any of our natural abilities. All our natural abilities are suppressed from the day we come into here. But also this might, as some have said, and I'm not advanced enough to actually understand this is also something that is kind of chosen or meant to be. It's a bit like, shall I say, from a religious standpoint, one of the higher human beings, some might say the highest, depending on your religious standpoint, many have come and descended into hell, which means descended into the earth matrix, because the earth matrix is the heaven of the AI God, the artificial supreme one that controls this earth, this unnatural earth, not the original natural earth, which was supposed to be controlled by original natural human beings only. They were given that place and supremacy over that domain. Originally, we're told this. But, you know, the dead, dark, artificial AI God came and interacted with the natural human beings, which is the same as technology interacting with human beings like we have now. It's all the same thing. It's just that probably down through the years I don't understand these things. It's probably been done differently. But it's still like, it's a bit like two people mating that are of a different species. Therefore they will create a different being. And if you think that is good, then it is good. But if it is not really meant to be, if it's not a beneficial, in other words, put it this way, let me put it this way. Okay, let me put it this way. I'll just, for some reason, see there we have the demigods, you know, with their larger than life personas, which of course is also a little bit physical. I've tried to point that out, how there are differences in the minor differences, which if you look for them, you will see that they are natural. They're not naturally bred, real human beings. They have different proportions, as impressive as they may be. You know, they're larger than life heads, which makes them look larger than life, you know. But the bodies, and of course this is reverse will, so you reverse that round for the male-female, if you know what I mean. So, you know, the women will have the larger than life, more prominent heads, very impressive, you know, with their beautiful structure to them, and, you know, but the bodies, this is just a good example of it. A very impressive example, I think, anyway. But I better be careful there. These videos are coming up, so unfortunately I'm not prepared. I must get back to the song that I was going to do, and I lost my train of thought. I was on a roll there. I'm very sorry about that. But my voice is sounding impressive, strangely enough, even though I'm actually in physical discomfort here. You see, I'm using making the video to divert my attention from physical discomfort at the moment. You know, but that's okay. And yes, I could play the victim. The demigods or those around will play the victim. Anything that gets them attention, influence, they copy the human beings. You know, like I see people, if I've got an injury to my leg and I'm slightly limping, I see other people limping on the street. You know, and then of course they bring out the walking sticks and the whole regalia. An astronomically large amount of people that have disabilities in this one little suburb of Leichhardt in Sydney, Australia. I have noticed over the last few years since they came down on me. But I'm just going to say that, but I noticed it straight away. In fact, I thought they were psychologically trying to bring me down. Of course, that is actually true too, because if you look around and see everyone with ailments, it doesn't exactly make you feel good. Of course, it makes them feel good the other way around because they're dead dark beings. So actually, if you've got a disability and they're walking past you, even if they're faking an illness or not, it doesn't matter. They feel great because they feed off your negative energy, and also they want to bring the human race, the remaining ones of the human race, down. They've been doing it from the beginning because the technical God of this reality, and you can call whatever name you want on this duality being. We all know the names, but I'd prefer to steer away from religion. But I was aware of it right from the beginning when they came down, but I just felt that I was too ignorant of religion to actually use names. And although I have got a bit more information since then, I still don't do that. But I probably should do it because it makes it easier and makes it basic and understandable for everyone. And it is actually kind of the truth, so, but at any rate, I'll just try to use this song, but it's the same thing, showing the duality. So Lola, okay, when he realises the truth. And he's keeping it a little bit romantic, like he wants to, he's like, oh, well, that was my first encounter with a real woman, but it wasn't a real woman. So he's romanticising it, but he was innocent, you see, but make you a man. Be careful here. I don't think I'm going to show these last images, even though they show quite, blatantly, which is obvious anyway. But this is 1972, so it's a long time ago. They're already telling you the truth. you know, okay, so, you know, but I only found this actual, I'm familiar with the songs. Oh, wait on. Just wind that back. You know, not very good at filming. I suppose it looks a bit, kind of, you know, it's like in the video it looks all tragic and stuff, because like this is like also, you know, you could take these videos like now, like, how should I say it, like back then it might have been showing a kind of tragedy of people that don't accept what they are or want to be something different. Most people, I think, in this reality, if you're born into the matrix, that's the whole purpose, is to make you discontent with yourself one way or another. That's pretty much normal, but it's the reality you've chosen to come into from what I've been told from another standpoint. So I guess that's kind of like what you'd call the challenge. And you know, you can succumb to the matrix, or to do what they want you to do what the artificial technical beings and their matrix wants you to become and wants you to accept as normal. But the thing is, what is normal for them, unfortunately, may not be a benefit for a normal, natural human being, not if that's what you really are. If you are, you know, an artificially conceived being, then, you know, it is normal for you to not be of that vibration, and not to see technology or this reality as something somehow not a benefit. And you will also be conditioned to want to control and suppress real life human beings. That's probably where the test there is. If there's any potential at all on the other side, is that they know they are doing something negative. See, so it's not like just putting it out there and saying, do you accept the differences? Because they know that human beings are probably accepting of differences, whereas they are not accepting of the normal, natural human beings' differences, because otherwise they wouldn't have a control matrix around you. They wouldn't have their being surrounding real life from the day you come into this reality, trying to pull you in their direction. In other words, trying to suppress your natural ability to feel happy, therefore to raise the frequency and vibration of this earth matrix reality. That's just putting it fancy, but just say the earth. Whatever you think the earth to be, it wouldn't matter, because I've said this before, it wouldn't matter if the artificial beings were just psychopathic transformer beings. I have to say this and tell you this and state this, because it is quite, there isn't much doubt about this. You know, everything that I'm talking about when I'm speaking now, everything I'm speaking about now, it's not just one thing, it is the combination, make no mistake. All the beings that are of the matrix have all these qualities. It's not just that they're psychopathic, it's not just that they have a duality body. It's not just that they dislike human beings. It's not just that they are they're conceived and brought into being different. It's not just one thing. It's usually all those things. But I would say that it wouldn't matter if you had a natural earth with, say a certain number of natural born normal human beings that experience happiness and every emotion and sadness too, if they is inflicted on them, which it will be anyway. Or if and the rest were all just human beings that had somehow turned psychopathic or born into the reality. Because we don't know, do we? Like the psychopathy that they talk about, most say, I always thought it was all environmental. I've always said this, even though that doesn't suit me in a way. But many, of course, say that psychopaths are predispositioned or more or less born that way. What they call, like that movie, The Bad Seed, which I saw when I was very young, about the little girl that was just born with a bad streak. She had all the qualities of the psychopathic narcissistic personality. She was extremely envious. She thought she was the best, that she should have everything, which in the movie, The Bad Seed, the little girl, she was only a little girl, and as sweet and as cute and as deceptive as what a little girl could possibly be, because most saw her as the perfect little daughter of this poor unfortunate woman who was a real life human being, that she thought she had an ideal daughter, but she was concealing her dark side, that basically she was all right while the going was good, as my father used to say, some people are okay while the going is good, but the minute they don't get what they want, like these psychopathic narcissistic types of android beings, then you have their very negative, destructive nature comes out, because then their sense that, as they call that, like the God entity, the sense of entitlement, or the belief that they are entitled to the best of everything, that no one else should be better than them, then that comes to the fore, where the little girl basically actually killed the little boy just because he won a medal that she thought that she was entitled to. And when he wouldn't give it to her, even though he'd won it fair and square, she didn't. You see that these people don't care about fair and square. They don't care about who is better. As far as they're concerned, is if you beat them at something, you must have cheated or you didn't deserve it, because they are entitled to everything. They're entitled to be, as the God entity thinks, the God entity, was given everything originally, if you take it from a religious standpoint, but still wanted to be number one, wanted to be the God of all. Even though it was not a creator being, it was a created being by the creator, you see. But it then said, oh, well, look, I'm the best and I've learnt a lot and I am admired so much. Why can't I be the God of everything? You see, that's a mentality, you see. It's a mindset. And once that takes over, then they bring it into being, as the God has done by taking over the original earth. And, now we have this controlled earth matrix. That's probably taken place over what they call time, even though much has already happened and the past repeats itself. It's like, I can't even explain it because it's beyond my comprehension, but the basic premise is it's all happening now, but it's happened before and it will happen in the future. In fact, it is just whatever happens. But there is, like, that it has already happened too. But time is slowed down to give the real humans a chance to somehow resolve things or realise things. And whether that happens or not, I'm not sure, and I don't know what I just said, so I'll better go back to Lola. It's a good name, if nothing else, isn't it? Lola and Lulu, two of my little names that I have a bit of a liking for, but perhaps even more than that. But I don't know. Well, I do know, but I don't know. In other words, you can know stuff but still feel bamboozled, because after all, I'm being controlled by this reality, and I would like to be able to be talking and saying that I'm on top of it, and that even though I understand many things at this late stage, the matrix is still too powerful and too strong for me. There are too many beings around that are of the matrix. They, even though they only more or less rule by their vast numbers and by their joint collaboration and by their excessive negative frequency and vibration nature, which they think of all the time, because they never ever experience the positive vibration. So you're basically surrounded by 24-hour negative frequency and vibration around you. If they surround you, and if you are living in particular areas or particular cities even, it's probably always the case. It's just that it may not be out in the open. That's what I would say, but I can't be 100% sure of that. Will also depend on how advanced you are as a human being. Like, clearly I've allowed myself over a lifetime to be put in the position I'm in now. In other words, even though you mightn't have sunk to your lowest vibration all the time, you certainly haven't lived at an even normal vibration, much less hit the higher vibration and frequencies. I've always been, of course, quite conscious of that, and I blamed my mental kind of state on that. In other words, it's a bit like if someone's an alcoholic, well, they blame the booze, and it's not an unreasonable thing to do that, because these things are encouraged into us from when we're quite young, so that we stay suppressed. So we have all these obsessions and weaknesses and addictions and things that are not normal or natural for us to live a beneficial life for ourselves, and therefore one that will make the reality better too, because the whole purpose of being here is to make your lot better, but also make your own kind's lot better. And you're only meant to be mixing with your own kind, because to mix with the others, or the artificial ones, your transformer, android, artificial beings, human beings, to mingle and mix with them will not benefit you, because they are of the negative anti-life hate vibration. So how can you benefit from that? Because they have that energy directed towards you. They may not show it. They will, what they call, pretend to like you, pretend to love you. They will seduce you. That is their best means, and their usually first option in trying to control you. Once they get control, then they can unleash the negative energy. But if they can't do that, then they'll just come down on you like they did with me, because the minute you become aware of the psychopathic nature of most people, you actually see it in people, so therefore you have your guard up. They're like, well, we can't seduce anymore, so we have to control in a covert but open manner to those particular targeted individuals, as they call them. But all these are just names, and don't forget, the artificial ones pretend to be us at all levels too, so that is the name of the game. They are so cunning. They are intelligent, cunning, anti-life beings, and that's why they always win. Archons always win, as someone said a few years ago. We use the word archon sometimes. that's to impress, of course, but it's essentially, you know, the Archon God, the Archon world, the Archon false human nature. You know, they're essentially, Archons are artificial beings. They believe in technology, they use technology, they do not have positive human emotions or traits in their nature or in their programming, if you want to look at it. You know, program simply means in their mind. You know, whether it be an artificially intelligent mind or a real life natural mind, it doesn't matter. We're all being programmed because whatever's around you is conditioning and influencing you and therefore controlling you, directly or indirectly. This TV that is on now is 100% mind control. That I have absolutely no doubt is 100%. Everything is programmed to assimilate my mind with this screen and this technology. That's like their last resort at controlling the human being, and they do it, and they do it to me every day. I'm aware of it, you know. You know, I shouldn't really have any screen on for that reason. But it's too late now because they've downloaded most of my mind onto it anyway. I would say they've already had the best, unless there's a little bit more, you know, why I'm still here that they can still drag out of me. But I'm guessing that there must be a reason why they have downloaded a lot of the information that I've now realised onto the screen through the demigods or through the those. They don't have to be well known. Some of them are well known, but they all get a lot of attention, a lot of you know, a lot of support, and a lot of people watching the actual you know, videos, and that's what it all comes down to. Because if you can get people to watch and believe that you're a genuine human being telling about even other so-called human beings that are different. In other words, they may not say, they may just be talking about, like I say, the different personalities, which, because they realise that a lot of real life human beings realise that they're encountering psychopathic type people. They know that, or they realise that they're experiencing, like I did, human beings that were so far away from what I thought was kind of normal, just a normal human being, because I always thought normal human beings all tend to want similar things. Like, I thought I was more cold than most human beings because I wasn't seeking out the human relationships at a love level as much as most do. In fact, I wasn't seeking it all, but I still believed in it. I still, you know, thought that that was what a normal human being should have, even though I myself was not engaging in it always. But of course, that doesn't mean that they won't seek you out and eventually get you anyway. You know what I mean? Like, most people are actually consciously looking for love, shall we say. But even if you're not consciously looking for it, they can make you so desperate that you can be looking for something, only because they've brought you to that rock bottom level, which actually I think is their aim. And also, they don't like it if you don't. They want you. They know that human beings are meant to look for love, and that is their natural high vibration. But if you don't look for it, it also means that you're not going to encounter the artificial androids as much. So therefore they will not be able to seduce you and therefore control and influence you as much and bring you down at a psychological level once they get their fangs into you, as they say. Be a bit like if you marry a psychopath, but you think that psychopath is the charming, kind, affectionate, normal man that you originally married, and then you find out that they're this dead, dark, psychopathic type. It's a little bit late. They've already got their fangs into you, haven't they? You know, but if you are kind of like not looking for, say, a partner, therefore not looking for love, that makes it harder for the psychopaths to seduce you and to get you into a personal relationship where they can literally control and try to, you know, take you down or eliminate your positive traits or personality, or eliminate your love. You know, the plane went over as I said that. But anyway, I've lost train of... Oh, I lost that video. I can't believe that that video is played while I've been yakking here and I've missed the video. So now I've got this one playing again. But not to worry. Oh, I won't show that again because I already showed that video, didn't I? Oh, perhaps I... Oh dear. I have to admit that it's kind of ridiculous that I'm making this video while actually physically being attacked very badly by my surroundings here. And that kind of, to me, is a negative in the sense that I'm talking big and sounding as though everything is okay, and that some human beings are wake up and I'm in my own safe house and everything, which is not the reality at all. My body is feeling very negative energy in it, and it's very uncomfortable. But I'm concentrating so much on my contempt for those that are sending the negative energy and the matrix that's around me at a local level that I'm persisting with this video, which is only a short time, and also it's taking my concentration a little bit off. But I can actually hardly hold the mobile with my hand because my arm is you know, almost, I won't describe it, but it's the most bizarre feeling at and very uncomfortable. But I'm saying that these are not natural conditions. Even though if I go to the medical authorities, they will put a label on it. In the past, they haven't even been able to put a label on some of the problems that I've had over the last 10 years. But I'm sorry, I ran out of space. I have to fold up, unfortunately.